I'm not going to talk a lot today because we've got a really packed agenda. Today is about looking to the future. You know, we know the issues that this industry face. It's about cost, it's about margins, it's about skills, it's about infrastructure. A lack of policy certainty, and I mean that in a very respectful way. We need some clarity around some key issues that will allow you as an industry to drive forward. You know, the coach, the van and the haulage sector, you know, you'll hear us refer to this as a lifeblood of the industry. You know, you think about what's in this room, you think about where we go, you think about what we do for our social, relaxing life. It's all about this industry. You know, and I'd just like to take a moment just to, you know, thank you for your persistence, your resilience, your entrepreneurial spirit, to always find a way to overcome the problem. But the problems are starting to mount up and the challenges. And yesterday I was at the cold chain conference just over there, and I couldn't help but be impressed by the innovation and the application that people are putting on to solve these problems. And there's some great example from a cold chain perspective of innovating to net zero, of driving change. And you really should be proud to be part of this industry, because ultimately you are, you know, the future of it. I'm not going to talk a lot about trucks, and I'm not going to talk a lot about regulation. I'm certainly not going to talk about net zero, because that's what my colleague Chris will do. I'm going to talk about people, okay, because it's AI, you know, generative, predictive. Still people that will be here in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years driving it through. And one thing since the last forum 2 years ago, and it was a point I made then, is we need a pathway. I won't use the expression roadmap. We need a pathway, whether it be to decarbonisation, whether it be to the integration of AI going forward, whether it be to the next generation of drivers. You know, we've got lots of ideas, and people say autonomous vehicles, for example. Yeah. How do we get to that point, if it ever exists? People say battery electric. Yeah, it's great. Let's go for that direction, aim for it, and understand why it can't be achieved in some areas and what that solution might be. But where's the actual stepping stones to do it? As the largest dedicated trade association in this space, working collaboratively with other trade bodies, it's our role to give you that voice and to give you that feedback. It's our role to be informed and inform. And last time when I stood on this stage, I talked about the 6 priorities the RHA have got, which is still the same 6. You know, you shape those priorities. You know. And I'm not going to go through any of those because it's quite clear what they are. And then, as a trade association, as an employer of 118 people, which is the biggest asset that I have as the managing director, it's important that we have a set of values. Okay? And the values we had just introduced last time, if you remember, for those people that were here. And those values are what you should experience when engaging with the RHA. So it's about collaboration. You know, it's about a trusted partner. It's about being supportive. You know, it's about quality. You know, it's about relevance. I'll come back to relevance in a moment. But the one I just want to talk about for a minute is we are not experts at the RHA. I'm not an expert on running a trade association. I'm not an expert on this industry. I know experts, so that therefore makes us knowledgeable. It makes you knowledgeable. And I think we have to recognise that. So yes, whilst we will give you guidance and support, we know experts are more knowledgeable people that can add to that voice and can add to that service. So just onto the 6 pillars. As an organisation, and I did speak about this last time, this is what we are. You know, we're a business. You know, we're a £15 million entity. You know, 5 million comes from membership. That's our reason for being. That's our purpose. That's what we do. That's what you do. 30% of people in this room are not members of the RHA. You're very welcome. You know, you still get that same experience because it's representing the industry. Within the 6 pillars, as in your organisations, we have people. You know, and as I said before, people are our greatest asset. And I'm very proud to stand in front of you as the MD of the RHA and say that culturally, the association's in a good position. We're in a good position to deliver those values. For the 2nd year on the bounce, 2nd year on the run. We have been voted Times Top 100 Employer. For this year, we were particularly nominated for a medium-sized employer award as well. That's great recognition of the 118 colleagues that work with me in the RHA. It's great recognition of you as an industry that supports us to do that. And in particular on that, it's a great recognition for the work and the leadership that Claire Murphy, who I think is in the room today, has shown through the team. You know, so thank you very much, Claire, for that. So continuing on the theme of people, You know, and we know that people are this industry. We know that we need drivers, we need mechanics, you need planners, we need future managers. And the health of us all is really, really important. You know, and certainly since we last met, do you remember when we last met? We introduced our wellbeing mental health support app. Okay. 2 years ago, okay, 104 weeks, give or take. We've had 450 people that we've helped through that. That doesn't sound a big number on its own, but it's what? 4 a week? It's making a start. It's making sure that we recognise that being a driver is a lonely place. Being a planner is a lonely place. Being a boss is a lonely place sometimes. So how do we actually support and keep going forward? So today I'm really, really proud, you know, that I can stand here and due to the support and collaboration with Kate and the Diabetes Society to announce that we are the first organisation, you know, to be a diabetes safe accredited organisation. Okay. That means all of the team in the RHA has been diabetes safe trained. We've produced a set of guidelines, which we will share with the industry. And it's about how, as you as employers, recognise the challenges and what you need to do to support people with this growing condition. It's a condition, it can be managed. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You'll have seen, if you've been to our regional briefs, me talk about this before, you know, it's really important that as we work in an industry where generationally at this moment in time, we're getting older, we look at these issues and we face into them. And we don't use them as an excuse, or we don't discriminate against people because of that. So in closing, because I'm mindful of the time and Ian did overrun slightly, I would just like to thank everybody who's coming today, you know, to support what we're talking about. Please do make it interactive, as Joy's already done. Thank you very much, Joy. You know, and do ask questions and join as we go along. But finally, I'd just like to thank you for the continued support. This will be an annual event, so we'll be back here again next year. We will be asking for your feedback to make sure it remains relevant, because I'll just close on relevance. The reason why we're relevant is because we listen to the industry, we listen to the stakeholders, and we understand the problems. We can't do that in an empty room.